Hi everyone, today, we're going to learn how to draw together using soft pastel pencils, not soft pastel sticks. In previous videos, we learned how to draw with pastel sticks, and I hope you all benefited from those lessons. Today, we're only using soft pastel pencils. The tools we'll need are Stabilo and Faber-Castell soft pastel pencils. First thing, it's not necessary to start with the highlights when using soft pastels, but it's very important to keep those highlights protected. It's especially important to preserve the highlights, usually in white. That's why I prefer working on colored paper. It helps us create our highlights and makes them look brighter. There are several criteria we use to choose the color of the paper. The first is the color of the drawing itself, so you can choose a color that's present in the drawing and incorporate it into the artwork. The second criterion is to choose a contrasting color for the paper, meaning if the drawing is orange, the paper should be blue, or if the drawing is red, the paper should be green. This color contrast makes both colors stand out. The third criterion is to choose a neutral shade from the gray tones. Why am I using pencils, and when should we use pencils versus fingers? When a drawing has many details like the one we're doing now, I use soft pastel pencils as if they were colored pencils. When to use fingers? In large areas like the cheek, forehead, neck, and clothing. You can use fingers even in detailed areas like the eyes or mouth, but only if two things are present: high control over your fingers and large areas to work on. On smaller areas, it's difficult to achieve details with fingers. Is it possible to use both soft pastel pencils and fingers together? Pencils are like colored pencils. They fill the paper's texture completely, so if you use pencils first, it might be hard to go over them with your fingers. However, if you start with fingers and then use pencils, the pencil will lift the finger-applied color. So, when I use them together, I use them side by side, not layered on top of each other. Fingers are for large areas, while pencils are for details, except in very limited cases. Colored pencils don't work well with soft pastels at all. The colored pencils don't allow any layering on top. Just like graphite pencils, they don't allow other materials to be applied over them. This means you won't be able to make adjustments if there's a mistake. How do I choose the pencils? I select them based on the color tone. Small color variations don't make a big difference. It's best to work in this order: highlights first, then the darks, and then the halftones. This way, everything gets the attention it needs. When it comes to coloring, you can apply dark colors over light ones or vice versa, except for highlights, which I add first. This is a unique benefit of soft pastels with pencils. You're not forced to start with anything specific. How do I choose the color shades? The most important thing is to focus on the color tone, not the color itself. How do you know if you've got the right tone? Convert your drawing to black and white. If you see distinct tones from dark to light, you've got it right. If all tones look similar, the drawing will look flat, with no proper light and shadow. The most important thing we focus on is the tones of the drawing rather than the colors, as the tones are what give the drawing depth. My technique with soft pastels: I start with the darks, apply skin color on top, and then distribute light and shadow. Then I add the highlights. You can't add details without being 100% sure of the light and shadow. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment for the next video. Bye.